Afternoon, everyone. My name is Djenna Rowling. I oversee higher education for UK and Ireland, part of the Google for Education team at Google, based out of London. So good afternoon to everyone in the room, but I think there's a good number joining virtually as well. So hello to all the virtual folks. So today we'll be focusing and starting the presentation, less of the fun part, more of the thought leadership realm and how Google sees AI currently and the future of education, which you're currently very much experiencing in reality. So we'll go ahead and excuse my poor transition. But in terms of the three key pieces here, I'll be talking about the three ways that Google likes to envision AI and focus. The first being AI for good, the second being learning for learning, and then the third for specifically your institution, the University of York. So at Google, at Google, we believe curiosity is a lifelong pursuit. So it's what makes us human and also what knows no bounds. This weekend gone, I ran my first half marathon and I used Gemini to create my training plan. Did I stick to that religiously? No, I didn't, but I did manage to make under 2 hours, which was my overall goal. It was the Royal Parks, in case you missed that one. That is a picture of me, though, at the ripe age of about 4 years old, back in the good old days when you'd plug in the larger computers that are very different to the reality that we see now. And so I have a question for yourselves as the audience, more so for those in the room, I think. I wanted to ask and have you think a bit about what was the last thing that you learnt. And if you've got that in your head, raise your hand in the room. Use technology to learn that concept. Yep. And keep that hand raised if you used AI. Healthy. I'm always seeing half hands when it comes to we haven't fully embraced it yet, but that's completely fair and normal. So in terms of, I guess, the Google philosophy, we're always thinking and always constantly learning, day in and day out. So it's the core to our mission in terms of organising the world's information, making it universally accessible and useful. So people come to our products and services in order to learn. Everyone will be familiar with Google search, some of these more consumer-oriented offers that are free. So the concept of promoting equitable access is very important to us as well. So we help our users across the world learn for work, at university and for life. Curiosity is endless, and so we need the right tools to keep up with that. So you might have seen in the press, I think this was last week, not this week, some Google colleagues actually picked up a Nobel Prize for quantum computing, which is quite exciting. I think it's a good example of where I think the organisation really likes to prioritise maximising your learning capabilities as a lifelong venture and trying to do good with that as well. And does anyone in the room recognise this gentleman on the screen? So last year in 2024, co-founder and CEO of Google DeepMind, based here in the UK, so that's Sir Demis Hassabis, was co-awarded the 2024 Nobel Prize in Chemistry for his work in developing AlphaFold. So when we talk about the future of AI and specifically education, AlphaFold is a groundbreaking AI system that predicts the 3D structure of proteins. So before AlphaFold, predicting proteins was an incredibly time-consuming task, very complex. So now we're coming steps closer to cures for diseases with respect to understanding how proteins fold in particular structures to predict the likelihood of rare illnesses such as Alzheimer's disease and also formulating various life-saving cancer treatments. And now this AI for good, made freely available. This has become a powerful tool for over 2 million scientists and researchers across 190 countries globally. It's a testament to the transformative power of AI. It's not just about scientific breakthroughs, it's about democratizing access to powerful tools. And that's what I really wanted to talk about today, how Google's bringing similar transformative AI capabilities to you here at York to drive innovation, your institution and your day-to-day. Now, you might be thinking, that's really interesting, but how does this apply to me as a student or a staff member here at the University of York? Well, Google is developing AI tools designed specifically for education, just as AlphaFold revolutionized scientific research. Google's AI tools are revolutionizing teaching, learning, and research in higher education. So let's imagine we're stepping into the shoes of either your students or you as staff at the University of York. And here's how we think AI can help right now and in the future. So we see the evolution of AI for learning happening in three key shifts. The first being helping students move from simply seeking quick answers, that was mentioned before from the student officer, to engaging explanations and deep curiosity-driven understanding. So that's really linked to our own sort of LLM models with Gemini, currently in your own workspace where we use LearnLM and pedagogical principles to develop. The second being from passive consumption to active exploration. So students can apply what they've learned to actual real-world problems and learn by doing, by exploring, creating, or debating, and not just by listening and watching. And the third and final one, from the stateless and isolated journeys to personalised and lifelong learning journeys, enabling learning at your pace. So adapting to your context to meet your goals. We want to encourage you to become lifelong learners. To do this right and to make sure students are acquiring important skill sets along the way, we need to make sure this is done responsibly. Having worked closely with various higher ed institutions across the country, we know evolution in AI for learning needs to be done ethically and responsibly. We want to make sure that our technology can best serve individual learning, inspire curiosity, and make sure students are acquiring deep understanding and important skill sets along the way. So when learning is limitless, so is our human potential. And that's the power of AI. Used boldly, applied responsibly is the ethos. So imagine a world where there is you don't really have to imagine it, it's almost happening already, a tutor for every learner, a teaching assistant for every educator, an AI assistant for every education leader. And with its ability to streamline tasks and boost engagement, Gen AI is having a huge impact on faculty staff who will now have more time to focus on what matters most, being obviously your teaching. So generative AI, some helpful stats up here, you may or may not already be familiar with, is already showing significant benefits for students, for educators and institutions. It can save educators on average 5 to 10 hours per week and boost student engagement for over 60% higher ed institutions. This isn't just about efficiency, it's also preparing students for the future. So 70% of business leaders would prioritizing hiring candidates with AI skills compared to those who don't have those skills. So institutions are also seeing a positive impact on their return on investment as well, with a mean return on investment of about $3.42 for every $1 invested, which is quite positive. And I'd like to close talking about some of the most important people at the university, your learners, your students. Building AI capability in students is essential to prepare them for the future of the workforce. The data clearly shows a rapid shift. Employers are actively prioritising AI proficiency, with 71% of business leaders willing to hire less experienced candidates who possess these skills. So with the acceleration of AI into business operations, it's evident that proficiency in this area is a vital asset for career advancement. Today's students are the first true generation of what we call AI natives. They'll use these models in ways none of us can predict. That's why we're working with institutions across higher education to ensure student success. So questions to ask across the day are as follows. How do we identify at-risk students and improve graduation rates? How do we look to personalise learning with leveraging AI? And thirdly, how do we use it to accelerate research development? And then finally, my close is let's look towards the future. So graduates are facing an unprecedented time and things are changing so rapidly, as we all know. So how can we use AI to ensure all students are ready for the future of work? And to tie all this key thought leadership together, not to bring it to the product, but it is very relevant, this is the what, and Simon's going to go into the how today with today's hands-on demos for Gemini and Notebook LM in your workspace. So York fortunately has this key top layer and also the bottom layer in many respects with free access to Gemini and Notebook LM. So we're looking forward to supporting you as staff and as learners in the room and understanding how to leverage this to benefit your workflows when it comes to operations, to teaching and learning, to research, and supporting your student engagement and also their career readiness.